I'm adding a couple more individuals into the meeting room.
Excellent. I'll be sharp this morning. There you go.
Slow man.
So you said flash.
When they used to have the place in where Vinny's is, where you could get bagels, that place was great. I take my granddaughter there for bagels on Sunday. That's a long dang time ago.
So this is a good one.
Okay, so welcome to Coos County Area Transportation District on February 10.
We thought we'd open at 5:30 and we'd see all these people. I saw myself roasting coffee. That was it.
Doug? Doug, can you hear me?
None of your dang business, schmuck.
Ira, can you hear me? Yeah.
It's just
Okay, hold on. Let me
so
troubleshoot the meeting room.
Very cute.
Yeah.
I've seen you in there, right?
20 times.
Yeah.
I still have the Queen baby.
Oh.
So it goes.
Good.
That's what I mean for.
He's referring to, like, I always carry,
Can you go to that place?
I do.
You can have it. Just give it to me. I've never been there. Oh, yeah.
Doug, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
All right.
Watson.
It's all yours.
We're ready to go. Okay, welcome on this bright morning, February 10th at 9 o'clock approximately. Thank you for your service, all you volunteers who aren't from Tennessee. Call to order, Board of Directors, Melissa.
Yes, roll call. Director Vesey,
Present.
Director Nelson,
Present.
Director Johnson,
Present.
Director Mason Long, Director Dovenspike,
Present.
Director Clausen.
Here.
And then we also have with us this morning from the advisory committee, Michael Babcock and Lauren Morris. Welcome.
And Harper.
Oh,
Harper.
sorry, Harper. And Harper Thompson. Thank you. And then we have Jane Stebbins with us, David Rupkovis, and then we have some individuals from the public who have joined us today as well. Welcome. And is Dave Hoagland online yet?
I don't see
I don't see that.
Okay, so I'll be watching for Dave. So with that,
I don't know who the person ends with 7-8. That's, I don't know. And then we got someone coming in, Mr. Sam Sung.
yeah.
So we'll start and they can join us. So it's not a joint meeting, it's just the advisory board is just here as
Correct.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's important. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Okay. Citizens' comments on agenda items.
There you go.
Okay. Mary Rowe. How could you tell, David?
Keep on important.
Oh, I was looking for a hand. Mary, go ahead. If you can hear me, welcome.
you're on the phone, yes.
If you're on the phone,
Or
Yeah.
Mary hits.
Did she leave us? No. Good morning.
Mary, we'll come back to you about citizens' comments on agenda items. I see no hands.
Carrie Muth has her
We'll
hand
still
up.
give Mary an opportunity later.
Carrie
We'll
Muth.
just slip it in someplace on the board. Consent agenda presented to us.
Doug,
Oh, there's it.
You got two of them.
Oh, we got her. Mary,
No,
I can see you. And Carrie, excellent. We got hands. High five. Go ahead. Mary, you're first. Can you hear us?
Mary hit *6.
If she can't probably hear me. Carrie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We'll have you start and we'll try to get Mary when we get the technology figured out on somebody's end. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So, I've been to these meetings for a few months, so I'm just going to say, instead of repeating myself about all the equity thing, I'm really interested in seeing what kind of solutions you guys have, especially for people instead of using the app or cash. So I'm really, anxious to see what you guys decide moving forward. And I did want to share, I rode on one of the new buses this morning. And I'll tell you one thing, the seatbelts, you may need seatbelt extenders in there for larger people. And if you go to step off that bus, you're going to easily hit your head. And so I don't know if some pads need installed up there or something, because it'd be really easy for somebody to get injured stepping out of the bus. So we'll see how the meeting goes. Thank you.
Okay. Mary, are you ready? We've got another couple people on there. Can you
Can you hear
identify
me?
yourself?
Can you hear me?
yes,
I
we
got
can
you.
hear you,
Can you hear
Mary.
me?
Yep.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Wow. Really hard using this phone. I had to enter the code for the meeting about 10 times to get through. Anyway, thank you. I didn't write anything out completely. I just made myself a couple notes here. So first of all, I want to agree with what I just heard the prior speaker say. I have ridden that bus, and I have short-term memory loss because I'm 72. And so I can save the driver some time by getting off the bus, even though it's too hard for me to get on the bus stepping up if I don't have a lot of stuff. However, there is no way I am ever going to go through that door because of my short-term memory loss. It's too risky, because I was told that if you're over 5'7", there is not sufficient head clearance. So I want to mention that. And also, the seatbelts literally go across your neck, part of your neck. So that's another issue. So anyway, on to what I wrote to say. I asked some questions about what might be presented today in terms of alternative for people who cannot use the website to have access to getting a discount and being able to pay easier for the dollar rides, other than having to go to the bank and get, a big bag of $1 bills every month. So as I understand it, we might be able to pay over the phone by calling dispatch for a number of rides all at one time, either with a $70 pass, or if we don't have that many rides, a smaller number. And if we get the smaller number, there's a discount. And if we get the $70, then that covers the whole month. So if we can pay with our debit card over the phone, that's wonderful. I just worry about dispatch having sufficient coverage. And I worry about that because of something that happened to me. I was waiting for a ride. I called to schedule the rides the morning of the trip. I called in the morning to see what the computer had fine-tuned the pickup times to. But then the computer picked up 20 minutes early, and it did not send me a text. And I can absolutely prove this with my
Mary,
phone.
Did you
And
get kicked off
there was
because of
no
3 minute,
dispatcher. I'm sorry, what? What? Are you still there?
We are. Go ahead, Mary.
So there was no dispatcher. There was no dispatcher. I did not get a text, and the bus showed up 20 minutes early. I was very lucky I happened to be out there. I could have been stranded. It was late in the day. I could have been stranded. For people like me, that could end up, I mean, if we can't get home, it's a medical emergency. So I worry about there being sufficient coverage for dispatch. I know in another county, the executive director,
Mary, are you there?
the operation. Yes, you can't hear me? You can't hear me?
Yeah, we.
It
Doug,
sounds like there might be a little, it sounds like there might be a difference between what those of us on Zoom are hearing and what the people in the board meeting are hearing.
We're not hearing anything.
Oh, you just don't hear.
okay, hold
In the
hold
board
on,
meeting,
Emma.
you're not hearing anything?
Right, hold
Well,
on.
now we are, but there was a pause for a couple minutes, a minute or so.
I'm gonna go into the other room and do a quick reconnect with the meeting room to the meeting. Hold on just a second.
Thank you.
What was the last thing the board heard from Mary, Doug?
She stranded. She might get stranded.
She might get stranded.
Or she
Okay,
almost
so
did.
that's
She
as
almost
far
got
as they know.
stranded.
Okay, so Mary,
It's
that's
great
where
to
we're gonna
hear
pick
that.
up again
Yeah.
when we get this
That's
figured
fine.
out, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, Mary.
And whoever was trying to connect out, and I'm on Zoom.
We're good.
How's our audio? Jane?
Can you hear us, Jane?
Yes, I can hear
Can
you.
you hear us, Mary?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the last part we heard, Zoomers might have got more, but you talked about being potentially stranded.
What I was talking about was with what I think, as I understand it, might be the new system of allowing people who don't have access to the website due to disability or age to call in and do over the phone what other people can do over the computer in terms of paying for rides, either with the $70 or a lesser amount, which the lesser amount would still have a discount. I'm concerned about dispatch being able to cover all that, because there's already some problems with dispatch having enough staff. And Megan is now on maternity leave, as I understand it, and she, did dispatch. And that's because I had an experience where, even though I called in the morning to get the latest update on the computer schedule, nevertheless, the computer did not send me a text prior to picking me up and scheduled the ride 20 minutes early. And there was no notification by text ever, not ever. And I had another experience where the computer picked me up. It was 15 minutes early, and the notification came 5 minutes after the pickup time, when I was already on the bus, because both times I lucked out and happened to be out there early. And it gave the time it gave was 5 minutes prior to when it notified me. So what I'm saying is, but the main thing is that there was no dispatch on the first occasion where I got no text, and it was late in the day. So I could have been stranded. I just happened to be out there 20 minutes early, or I would have been stranded. So there was no dispatcher working because of coverage issues, because the CCAT cannot, afford to have really sufficient staff. And so with people now making purchases over the phone, I worry about dispatch being further burdened, and there being even more of a problem with people being able to get a hold of dispatch.
David's got a comment in regards to this. He's got wisdom that I don't know.
I was just gonna say, I don't anticipate this being a problem for dispatch. And we are almost always there. Yes, Ryan also drives buses, so there are times when in an emergency where we have to put him on the road. But when a lot of people say we're not there, but we are answering other calls, and a lot of times we're on the phone. Mary, this morning when I was on the phone with you, 3 calls came in that weren't answered because I was the only one there. So it's not that we're necessarily short-staffed, and I don't really anticipate this being a problem. The key is, if you don't get an answer, leave a message, because we check them immediately and do call back.
I have had experiences where no one has called back, but I just want to say this, just to finish this. I think someone needs to always be covering dispatch, even if the dispatcher has to go out and drive. The executive director or the operational manager, or possibly, if it's legal, even a volunteer who's trained, such as someone who's on one of the boards, the advisory board or the county elected board, covering dispatch is crucial. During, if it's specified to people during certain hours, that they're only there during certain hours, and the riders know that if they ride during other hours, they're riding at their own risk. But if it's supposed to be there during certain hours, I believe it needs to be, because it's a life and death issue for people to not be stranded and to be able to get home, no matter how creatively, whatever it takes to cover that dispatch.
Are you throwing your hat into the ring?
No, I'm not willing enough to do that, but I don't know if it's legal currently, but I do know in another county, they had a board member who covered dispatch. He was trained and he did it as a volunteer. I think dispatch needs to be covered during certain publicized specified hours for the absolute life and death safety of people on the dial a ride, not necessarily your entire running hours, but during whatever hours you might choose.
But you got to understand, if they're on another phone line, they can't answer your call when they're on the phone. And if he's got 3 calls, he can only answer one at a time. So your point is well taken, but he only can do one thing at a time.
You're not understanding. What I'm talking about is there was nobody there at dispatch at all because Ryan had to go drive the bus and there was nobody working at dispatch at that time. Nobody.
Can I make
Mr.
an
Chair.
observation?
Go
Mr.
ahead, Jane.
I think that what we've got is good information here from Mary, to take back and kind of, Melissa can look at maybe what's been going on over the last few months. And you guys now know this is a potential issue, so you can be watching for it. I don't think necessarily talking about the nitty gritty details of it in the board meeting is really going to be helpful.
Thank you.
I
was
agree with
also
that.
going to remind the chair that we do limit public comment to 3 minutes.
That is very true. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Do we have any other persons that like public forum?
I would, James Edwards. Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
my name is James Edwards. I'm from Lakeside. I'm speaking this morning on behalf of the bus riders from Lakeside as well as myself. So the fare to ride from North Bend to Lakeside is $6. The fare to ride from North Bend to Florence is $6. So that means once you get to Lakeside and there is no additional charge to go into Florence, the additional 31.62 miles is free. The fare
That is
from North
correct.
Bend to fare from North Bend to Hauser is $1.50. The fare from
Are you there?
Hauser to Lakes. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello?
We were out for a while.
Can you?
you pause.
Oh, geez. Okay. So the fare from North Bend to Hauser is $1.50. The fare from Hauser to Lakeside is $1.50. That's $3 for the same 13.6 miles that I pay $6 to travel. The fare from Coos Bay to Myrtle Point is $3. That's 26 miles, which is twice the distance to Lakeside that I have to pay $6 for. So it just seems unfair to.
The difference is they're in different zones. What they're in
Well, then I'm
one
not,
zone
Mr.
versus
Chair,
another
if-
zone.
sorry,
Once we
if
leave
Mr. Chair, if
the one zone, we get to another zone, and our reimbursement on the zones is totally different from one to the other. So if you're going in our normal zones, we get reimbursed A, and we go outside of our zones, we get reimbursed less. That's why the fees are what they are. It's about reimbursement
well,
on our mileage.
Mr. Chair, I understand you're trying to explain it to me, but it doesn't make sense to me. It's just unfair to Lakeside riders when you can ride to Florence for the same amount.
It has nothing to do with fairness. It's from Coos Bay to Lakeside is a fee and reimbursement. From Lakeside to Florence is a different zone and we get reimbursed less. It may not seem fair mileage wise, but it's reimbursement from the head honchos in Washington, D.C. So that's why there's a different price.
Well, I was told the board is responsible for setting fares.
What's that, sir?
I said, I was told the
We're
board.
responsible for setting fares. We are. These are the things we take into account. And it's not a per mile price. And a lot of work goes into it. Appreciate your understanding our position.
Any other
All right,
comments,
thank you.
sir? Do we have any other people that are interested in public forum? Seeing no hands, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion on the floor about the consent agenda?
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. And do we have a second? And we have a second. Okay. Do we have any questions on any of the paperwork that we're given, the minutes, the financials, the ridership, the insurance renewal and authorization. Does anyone have any comments or questions about that? Go ahead.
I've got a
Mike?
comment. You know, the price of insurance everywhere is going up. It's a major expense to us. I think that the powers that be should look at a statewide self-insurance for different districts that have insurance needs. Private insurance companies are making money off of us. I know that it's a difficult time for them with things like fires and whatnot, but this is unsustainable, a pattern of fare raises that people in high places need to look at what's going on and see what the next step is when we can no longer afford insurance.
Tara?
SDIS is sort of exactly what you're talking about. Special districts are incredibly hard to insure because they don't fit into any box. And so that is exactly what SDIS is. We're already getting the best price. I just did a bunch of research for the fire district. I'm on the fire district board for Dora Sitcom, and SDIS has the best rates, and they're the only place that you can get the majority of our policies condensed into one. It would be very costly for us to go and farm out each individual type of policy that we need. And so even though this is very expensive, it's significantly less than what we would find from anywhere else.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tara. Any other questions or comments before we vote on our consent agenda? All those in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Consent agenda accepted. Okay. Dave Hoagland. Melissa, do you want to introduce him, or do you want me to just say Dave Hoagland?
It's my pleasure to introduce Dave Hoagland, our auditor with Clifton Larson and Allen. Welcome.
Thank you. So I think you've got the draft of the financial statements in front of you, and I thought I'd go over just some general items before we talked over to those, just the items that we're required to disclose and make sure the board's aware of. So we have audited those financial statements, and we've done so in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, generally accepted governmental auditing standards, and the uniform guidance for your federal programs. I'll tell you the report when we get over to the financials. It's a clean report, but I'll show it to you in just a second. Your accounting policies have not changed. None of them have changed in the current year, so everything is consistent. Nothing unusual. There's no significant estimates in the financial statements, and so the footnotes are really kind of clear, neutral. There were no significant unusual transactions, and we didn't really have any significant difficulties in performing the audit. We noted no uncorrected misstatements this year. We did have a couple journal entries, which will be attached to the letter to the board later, but they've all been corrected. No disagreements with management. We're not aware of any management consulting with other independent accountants. And we did not discuss anything with management that was contingent on our hire about how we would look at an auditing item. So those are kind of some of the items we generally tell the board right up front. And with that, I can go ahead and share my screen, and I think, yeah. And do you see this? Yep. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the financial statement. So this is the opinion. It's on page 2, and it is a clean opinion. So it's in the first, right there in the second paragraph. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above fairly present in all material respects the financial position of Coos County Area Transportation District. So clean opinion. We believe these financial statements to be fairly stated. Just some highlights looking at them. You look at your statement of net position. This kind of shows all your assets and your liabilities. You've got a significant amount of cash and cash equivalents on hand. Not a lot of liabilities to pay out of them, about 180,000. So that's a strong position to be in. That's good. And on the next page is your income statement. And you can say you operated at a profit of $514,000. So that is good. And when you add back depreciation, you're generating a fairly nice cash flow from operations of a little over $1 million. So those are all good as well. One thing we did have in the current year, and it's put in here in the government auditing standards report. And this is kind of on, this would be on page 26 if you were to be following along, but we did have a couple deficiencies in internal control that ended up being considered findings. And so they've been reported, and I'll show you what those are in just a second. But this, we don't give an opinion on internal control. This just says we noted these items, and I'll point them out to you in the schedule of findings and question costs. And essentially what they were is during the year under audit, management identified a cash transfer without approval between two entities. That would be considered a material weakness. The significant deficiency was just that the bank reconciliations were not being timely reconciled for a portion of the year. So those are really all the findings. So is there anything on the financials or something that you would like to go over that I can answer?
No, we've looked at it. I've looked at it already, so we're fine.
Okay. All good?
Anyone else?
Same.
Go ahead, David.
That's it. That's all I've got. If nobody else has any questions.
No, we looked at it and analyzed it. We appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
David.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
I need a motion on the floor to accept the draft audit report as presented.
Is this Shira? I
Over.
so make that motion.
Thanks, Shira. And do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Mike. We get a motion and a second to accept the draft audit report as presented. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain. We accept the draft audit report as presented. Thank you. Melissa, do you want to talk about old business?
And just a reminder that we do have elections coming up. Positions 1, 2, and 3 are opening up for elections, and individuals interested in filing can do so between February 8th and March 20th.
And if you don't want to pay the fee, you can get signatures. So you can save yourself a whopping $10 by getting people that will support you. Not necessarily financially.
Mhm.
Okay, new business. Go ahead, Melissa.
So as a reminder, we did have a resignation on the board last month. Fred Baker, that's position 3. At the board's request, we did post this opportunity, this vacancy, and it was published in the World on January 28th. We received 1 application for position 3, and that was Harper Thompson, and his application is on file. At this time, the board may select and appoint Harper Thompson, or republish the vacancy, or fill the appointment position by appointment from citizenry at large.
So Melissa, if we appoint, do we just say we need a nomination, obviously?
Yes.
Thanks, Jane.
Mhm.
I move to appoint Harper Thompson as a CCAT board member to finish out the term being left vacant by Fred Baker.
This is Shira Nelson. I wholeheartedly accept, endorse, and second that nomination. Thank you.
We got a motion and a second to accept Harper Thompson to continue Fred Baker's term until it ends. And then if he's interested, he'd have to apply down the road. Any questions or comments?
Very, very pleased to have Harper on the board.
I think he's a very qualified young person who's way more qualified than how young he is. I don't know, he's done more stuff than some people do in their whole lives. So I think he's an outstanding candidate.
I will say it was exactly a year ago today that you all appointed me to the budget and the advisory committee. So
Today?
today, and then 13 months ago exactly was the other one. The first round. Not again. Thank you all so much.
Okay, all those in favor of Harper Thompson added to the board, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Congratulations. Thank you, thank you. We got another candidate here. We're excited. Okay, budget recruitment. Melissa, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, so we have 4 vacancies on our budget committee. So if the board would help us promote this opportunity, folks can go to our website and they can access the application. But we do have positions 2, 3, 4, and 7 with various timeframes that are available for our application. So, and I know David Rupkovich will be posting this opportunity on our social media as well. And
So
we'll
they end in December? They don't end at the end of the calendar year or the fiscal year versus the calendar year?
No, they go different terms, so they go through December.
Wow. American systems confusing.
Harper, did you have a question?
Yeah. Just for like the qualification requirements for the budget committee, is that the same for everything else? Just like 18 and a registered voter in Coos County?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good, so we need to try to find interested persons to fill those 4 positions. It'd be nice to have a full board for the budget hearings. Okay, budget calendar. We got a piece of paper here from Melissa. Melissa, do you want to talk about it before we make a motion?
Yes, this basically details the schedule of our deadlines for completing the budget process for 25 and 26.
Could I get a motion on the floor to approve the 2025 budget calendar?
So moved.
Thank you. And second by the new guy.
So fun.
Okay, as you know, it's the same procedure every year. She's not trying to throw curveballs and you're looking for a fastball. So this is the same format. So it's just pretty cut and dry. All those in favor? Any comments first of the budget calendar? Comments about the budget calendar? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain. Calendarically going. Good deal. Budget officer, Melissa. You want
Next
to talk
up,
about that?
the board gets to appoint their budget officer. I have had the opportunity to function in this role for several years. And I am proposing that I once again serve as your budget officer for this next budget cycle.
I move to approve resolution 2025-1, appointing the budget officer as Melissa.
This is Shira. I second that move from Melissa.
We got a motion on the floor and a second to appoint Melissa Metz as their budget officer. In my opinion, she knows the role so well. If we brought in someone else, they wouldn't understand
I'd be scared.
anything. So do you have any questions or comments before we do a vote?
Very, very pleased Melissa would agree to do it again.
Excellent. Anyone else? All those in favor of Melissa Metz as the budget officer, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Thank you, Melissa. Part E, paratransit prepay.
Yes, thank you. Paratransit prepay. So we have been busy working on accommodations for individuals, basically an alternate route to using the token transit app for paying fares. Paratransit prepay is an option as we roll into the new Passio platform for paratransit rides. Individuals with a disability and seniors 65 and older who use Dial Ride can prepay their fare. Fares can be accepted by mail, phone, or in person at the dispatch office. And then our dispatchers would then enter that dollar amount then into their account or their profile associated with the Dial Ride scheduling platform. And then individuals, once they prepaid and that money's placed on their account, then individuals call to schedule their reservation. And then they would indicate to the reservationist that they want to use their prepay account. And then that trip, when booked, then will deduct automatically from their account. At the day of the trip, when the bus pulls up to that individual, it will show that there's no fare to be collected, that it's already been paid in full. If the trip was canceled, then the dollars that were tied up with that trip upon cancellation would return to the account. So the benefits, this would be contactless. So it would protect our drivers and our customers from, any passing of germs and that kind of thing. It will allow us to continue to reduce administrative work associated with the need of printing physical fare media, and reduces risk of theft and fraud, and allows our drivers to focus on transporting of individuals and everyone's safety. Are there any questions from the board on this paratransit prepay? And I would also add that we would set it up consistent to token transit, that one ride would be $250 and a 31-day pass would be $70.
Jane, go ahead.
Melissa, is this is what you spent a bunch of time working with CLCM trying to figure out the right way to do this, right?
They were one of the agencies, yes, and I've also been working with Michael.
Jane,
Jane, you got cut off.
we can't hear you, but you don't know we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I wanted.
Jane's question was, what agencies have I been working with respect to establishing the accommodations? And so I did work with CCM and Michael Babcock on the paratransit prepay.
Good work. We lost a lot of what Jane said. You might have heard it, but us in this room didn't hear a lot.
Jane, you're muted now. There you go.
Doug, I wanted to make sure, because I know there are people here specifically for this.
Speechless.
Ah! All right.
Can you all not hear Jane?
Okay,
I know, we can, yay, but can the meeting room, all right, look, can you hear us?
No.
Off and on.
Hold on just a second. I'm gonna reduce the number of video feeds that are coming into your location. Hold on.
So they can hear, but we can't hear. It's okay, Melissa.
This is so unusual for your.
2025, baby. You gotta love it.
Melissa, would it help if we turn off our videos?
oh, potentially.
Hi, Jane.
We got your
We got your
president.
back, Jane.
Oh,
Except
good.
for we got your front. Just kidding.
Ha, ha. It's my best side.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that Melissa mentioned, because I know a lot of people here are at this meeting because they're concerned about this particular issue, and I wanted to make sure that she
Stop
mentioned.
again.
Oh my God!
A lot of people are here for.
You know what? I'm gonna do this.
You still can't
There.
hear
Okay.
us in the meeting room?
How about now?
There you are.
All right. Melissa talked to people whose job it is to look out for the rights of the disabled people in our community in different places, and did research and went back and forth multiple times with these people. And I thought it was important that everybody know that.
We lost you again.
She doesn't know.
I'm gonna give up,
So we need a better internet service here, obviously.
or I do.
Is it the wall?
Hey Doug, can you hear me now?
We have DFN inside the building, but most of us have to be hardwired. So.
Hi, Melissa.
Can you hear me okay?
We can be heard about 12% of Jane, maybe.
Okay, well, I'll just recap real quick. Jane wanted to ensure that it was in the minutes that I did outreach with multiple agencies to ensure the accommodation is an appropriate one.
Okay,
Thank you.
we appreciate that.
Okay.
Could we get a
Shira, did
motion
you
to
have
adopt
a
the paratransit
question, or-
prepaid program, and then might talk about it in a sec?
I'll move to adopt the paratransit prepaid program.
Shira?
I
has her hand up.
just, along with the programs that you consulted with, you came up with this other system that you're going to show us as well, that you showed.
So we're going to do the paratransit prepay. This is for dial-a-ride.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, once this one's taken care of, then we'll talk about accommodation for fixed route. Okay.
Okay, just a comment on
Excellent.
this one, just a comment on the transit prepay.
Pros.
And for you guys here, I think it's.
Can you hear me?
important to note that
Maybe not.
the Accommodation. not
I
on the,
can.
Prepaid, but
Can't.
we're doing it at
Can.
reduced rate as if you had the app.
Yeah, that was a big concern, but they can't hear us. Oh, there we are.
You're back.
You're
I
back.
keep freezing. I'm not quite sure. We're going to have to.
Says
So,
network bandwidth is low, whatever that means.
Shira?
I think I'm asking the same thing that was just asked about the lesser amount discount. This is at the less amount
Yes,
discount
it is.
per ride
Yeah,
and the $70. So that's the
Good.
best we can do right now.
yeah. It aligns with the token transit fares.
I'm glad we're accommodating, so to give people an opportunity to save money. That's a positive sign. Even if some people can hear me, I don't
Doug,
know who
we
can hear me.
Doug, we can hear you. You just apparently can't always hear us.
Yeah.
Did I hear you call for a motion to adopt the paratransit prepay program?
We had a motion and a second, and we're in the discussion stage right now.
Okay.
So since Melissa has checked with other people to see if this is a good, and they're getting a discount. I think it's a great idea. Any other comments about before we approve the paratransit prepaid program?
I need to point out how hard she worked to be as fair and reasonable as humanly possible, to come to this conclusion that we find acceptable for sure.
I agree 100%. It's a lot more challenging than it meets the eyes, that's for sure. All those in favor to adopt the paratransit prepaid program, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Oppose? Maintenance plan.
So Doug, I have one more piece of fair media I would like to chat about.
Okay.
And that's the accommodation for the fixed route. And this was specifically to address the concerns for intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I'm going to share my screen.
Excellent. Okay.
So this is for fixed route only, and it will be set up as a 31-day fixed route pass. And so and agencies can purchase, individuals could purchase as an accommodation. The dispatcher, when he sells this particular pass, will punch out the expiration date. So if it was 31 days and I was selling it today, then it would be approximately March 11th. And that would be punched
So
out.
what do you think? This is a fixed route pass program? Okay.
So, did I drop out in the meeting room?
Melissa, can you hear me?
Yes. Could you not hear me?
We heard some of it. You talked about a punch card and the end of the thing, the end of the punch, and then we were in Neverland.
Okay. So
So
it is,
if you talk about it briefly again,
it is
that'd
a
be
card.
wonderful.
A card that will be used for 31 days. It's still contactless because the driver won't be handling this pass. The individual will just show it and the driver will verify that it's still valid. But
So they'll just see the pass, they'll look up the end date, and then we're good to go?
Yes.
Are we calling this any specific program? Is it the fixed route pass program?
Sure, fixed route pass program.
Maybe.
Yes.
Fixed route, I'll take that.
Do we want to call it approval of the fixed route monthly pass program?
Yes.
Possibly?
Talking about it.
You still can't hear me?
We can't hear you.
Melissa, do we need a motion to approve this?
Yes, we do need a motion to approve this.
Well, that's right. Well, this was happening before I was voted on the board. So I'm gonna keep going.
Since you got on the board, it's going downhill. Hey, Melissa. Hi, Tara.
Hi.
We can't hear anything.
We
So
lost
we're-
you for a bit too.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hi, Jane.
The front and center, Jane. Yeah.
So Doug, can you hear us now?
I can now.
So I move to accept the fixed route punch pass program or whatever you called it.
I call it the fixed route monthly punch pass program. Yeah.
Yeah, that. I move to approve that.
And do we have a second?
Second,
Good, thanks, Shira. We got to move in a second to accept the fixed road monthly pass program. All those, oh, any questions? Probably can't hear you anyway, but that's all good. I hope this will help the people who are concerned about the program.
It will.
I hope. Okay.
Oh, see, Shira's on board. We got her.
Carrie wants to ask it.
Well, we're in the middle of a motion though.
Yeah.
So,
All those against, say no. All those abstain.
all right, now, Doug, hold
It's
Doug.
not public forum time. Go ahead if you can. We got it. We got you, Tara. Hi, Jane. We can see you.
Good.
Okay,
That's what I mean.
we're gonna move on to the maintenance plan. Go ahead, Melissa.
So before you is the maintenance plan for 2025. The last time the district reviewed it was in December of 2022. It did require some significant redrafting because we use different platform now with transit check in our role of maintenance. And so for compliance, we request the board to adopt the maintenance plan.
Just lost you.
Hang on. Again.
What? So
Can't hear you, Melissa.
did you hear that it's for compliance?
There's so many people.
Are you there? Doug, can you hear me?
I can now. You started, but then we lost you.
So this particular policy has had significant rewrite. And so it's now staff recommend the board to approve.
Can I get a motion to adopt the CCATD maintenance plan as presented from staff recommendation?
So move.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Harper. Any questions about the plan?
Thanks for all the work. I looked through it last night. There was a lot in there.
Excellent. All those in favor of the plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose. Abstain. We got the plan. Good deal. We're moving on to this SDAO recap. Gene Stibbins and Tara Johnson.
I can start if you want me to.
That would be excellent.
So briefly, it's hard to summarize a 4-day or 3-day conference in a couple of minutes, but I think it's if you haven't taken the public meetings law that is required, the public meetings law training, you need to take it. It has a lot of valuable information and a solid reminder that while we can depend on staff to support us, ultimately we are the elected officials and we are responsible, not staff, for a lot of things that happen during our meeting. And thank you to ODOT for my scholarship that made the trip possible. And I went to several on boards and public meetings law, met people from all across the state who, while they may not be in transit, they're in a special district. So it was really enlightening to hear that they're having some of the same challenges we are, like with insurance. And that no matter how large or small the district is, that it is easy for us to depend on staff to do things and get us information. But that reminder that we are responsible for the information ourselves. It does seem like our team at CCAT is doing a great job. A lot of the things I'm like, oh yay, we're already doing that. Oh yes. So I just want to compliment and commend the staff at CCAT. I think that if you can go, it's a wonderful opportunity to learn in a different setting. When you do online training, sometimes it's harder to remain engaged. Whereas when you're there in person, you get to ask questions and interact in a different manner. You don't get cut off in the middle of your stream.
Lost you.
Let me know when I come back. I'm not going to say anything really. You had me and now I'm gone. So the food was great. The drive over was bad. I mean, if you don't like snow. Let me know if I come back.
I mean, I want you to know
Oh,
I'm
the meeting
enjoying
room
it.
is, the meeting room is muted. Is that intentional?
They might have muted themselves because it looked like David was trying to call in.
You're back on, Tara. We heard a
Okay.
lot of what you said.
Yeah.
I just asked where was it at?
It was in Bend, and so I drove over hill and vale and yon and yonder, and I was a trailblazer, and I'm really brave, and I'm glad I'm brave because the weather was frightful, but the fire was so delightful, and the food was great, and I saw Jane exactly one time because there's a lot of people there, and it was a great opportunity. I really appreciate the opportunity to have gone, and I would hope to be able to go again, but I would really encourage any of you to go. If you like, I don't know how many scholarships are available and financially all of the things, but it's really important, I think, for us to kind of get out of Coos County and touch base with other counties, other organizations, to hear about ports and fire departments and all the other things and their struggles and challenges, and see that we're not alone.
Good point. Jane, do you have things to add as well?
Love Tara's rendition. Agree on the drive. Sucked. Hated it. 1 star.
0 stars. Let's just be honest.
Saw some good classes. We're missing some federal speakers.
Well.
And then what Tara said, I'd say.
Excellent. That's good. I've signed up for the one on February 19th. Zoom. I'm excited. I can't wait.
I really was not looking forward to it at all, but it is a good training and it's very worth, I mean, it's required for us, but it's also worth it.
Is it required?
Go ahead.
Committee members as well.
No, it's probably recommended.
Okay.
Anyone else got any questions or comments about the SDAO?
It's 2 hours, just so you know.
2 hours isn't very long. That's less than a round of golf. Okay. Good deal. Okay, we'll move on to David. David's got some travel training reports.
I think we'll be able to hear from the whole time.
Yeah, the good news is 2 hours isn't very long, so get comfortable. No. February was not the busiest month. And or January, it's all a blur. Yeah. I had 4 sessions with individuals, but the big group was I got a call from an adult foster care home. I don't know if you guys really know what that are, but these are people who have either physical or mental problems, but they're still capable of being independent. They just need a little help. And there were a bunch of them. I met with 6 of them to discuss every service that we offer. The good news is they live 1 block away from a fixed route bus stop. And as soon as we get done today, I'm going over there. We're going to walk to the bus stop and we're going to get on Green Line and go around the loop just so they get comfortable with it, know what they're doing, because they have the way their rules are set up. They have time every day that's free time. They can go to the store, go to the mall, you know, go do something on their own and come home. And they just need a little help to get there. So I'll be doing that as soon as we're done.
That's excellent.
Good for you. Yeah.
I would really encourage people who have disability or barriers to our transit, contact.
So what he's saying is that he,
Contact him.
Well, you know,
He's excited too.
hopefully we've got it ironed out enough that won't have to happen.
Right, we're hoping.
You know,
Excellent.
One thing I've learned in travel training is the vast majority of people who I work with, all they want is on that bus and do it. So going out on actual rides is a pretty big deal for them.
Well, all I know is the board members or whoever need to get on the bus before the next meeting. I did it earlier. Okay, general manager report. Thanks, David. Go ahead, Melissa, general manager report.
yeah, so just a reminder.
Maybe.
Can you hear me?
For chance.
By chance, can you hear me?
Oh, we're moving, they're frozen.
No? So the meeting room is frozen. No, the meeting room is frozen. Give it a sec, see if they refresh.
There you go.
There we
All
go.
right, there we go. So I'm going to go quickly. 1, just a reminder, do your public meeting law training if you haven't done it, board members. 2, Selena and I are going to California tomorrow, and we're going to do some hydrogen recon. There's a special conference and tour for public transit interested in hydrogen. So we'll be able to give you an update on hydrogen then next meeting. That is basically all I have to report at this time.
Excellent, thank you. What about the board assessment, Melissa?
Yeah,
Is
I
that-
need to follow back up with SDAO and check to see if all the board members have submitted their assessment.
Is that the one where we had to go send in the form
Yes,
for conflict of interest and all that stuff?
I believe so.
Anacorn did that. Okay, citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Carrie, if you're there, I saw you had a comment earlier. We tried to get, I think it was Carrie.
It was.
Go for it, Carrie.
So when does this prepaid, where I could call up and pay for stuff, when is that going to start?
So for individual trips, that's available now. The monthly trips requires a little bit of programming, and we anticipate that getting up available for March 1st.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
No problem. Any other citizens' comments? I see no hands. Jennifer Boardman, how you doing? Do you have any wisdom to share?
No, I'd be afraid that I'd get cut off in the middle, so I'll save mine for the next meeting.
We appreciate you, Jennifer Boardman. Good answer. Okay,
I just want to say thank you to Melissa, all the work that you did, and then how calm you are with all this technical problems today. I just want to thank you so much, Melissa, and the whole staff.
Yes, we appreciate our staff, all the people on our staff. Thank you for coming to the meeting. Our next meeting is March 10th at 9. Be ready for the Four Nations Hockey Tournament. Canada better win. That's all I got to say. Bye.